When I came to Appleby in grade 9, I heard nothing but great things about the school, the teachers, and the many opportunities provided. I heard that the work would be rigorous, that the curriculum was challenging, and that the students were intelligent, dynamic, ambitious, and global. While I was excited to start, I had a feeling deep down, dread. I asked myself, do I belong here? Attending Appleby in my first year, I heard my peers talking about all of their intense extracurriculars and amazing grades. And I asked myself, am I really on that level? The mindset went on to impact every aspect of school life. I hesitated on schoolwork and putting my hand up in class, and shied away from participating in extracurriculars like sports. In all my worries and doubts, I never once considered my own potential. I was too focused on the achievements of others. Every time I got a good grade, all I could think about was the others that outperformed me. When my teachers complimented my contributions in class discussions, I thought, how long until they figure out I'm not that smart? Appleby, the reason I'm speaking to you all today is to share these reflections with you in the hope that you can learn from my experience. What I was facing was something called imposter syndrome. Research shows that around 82% of us will experience it at least once in our lives. But I believe everyone in this room can work to remove themselves from this statistic by understanding the issue. My name is Hayden Shoan, and I'm going to talk about what it really means to live with that constant doubt and how we can start to see ourselves in a more truthful light, not just a positive one. Let's start with this. What is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is the belief that your successes are not really yours, and that at any moment, someone could expose you as a fraud. You might get a mark that you're proud of, but instead of being proud of yourself, your first thought is, that was luck, or the teacher marked easy on this one. You might make a team or get a position, but instead of feeling excited, you're waiting for the message that says, sorry, there's been a mistake. For me, imposter syndrome showed up in small moments in my everyday life. I remember sitting in my first high school math class and watching people raise their hands so quickly, it felt like they knew the answer long before the teacher had even finished speaking. I would sit there thinking, if I put my hand up and I'm wrong, I'll prove to everyone that I don't understand. So I didn't answer questions. I stayed quiet, even when I understood. I thought silence was safer than being exposed. At lunch, my friends would talk about their schedules, club meetings, sports practices, music lessons, and leadership roles. It felt like my peers all had a full resume already built, while I was just trying to survive each week. I fully convinced myself that everyone around me had some secret manual for how to succeed at Appleby, and that I was the only one who had missed that email. Looking back, the hardest part was not the work itself. It was the concept of work I had given myself. I wasn't asking, how can I grow? I was asking, how can I avoid being found out? That fear made me act small, even when I didn't have to. Part of the problem is the environment we live and work in. Appleby is full of talented, high-achieving people. This is one of the best things about our school, but it can also be one of the hardest. When the average here is taking a rigorous course load, playing on a varsity sports team, earning awards, and somehow still sleeping 8 hours, it's easy to feel like you're behind. Social media makes this even worse. We see each other's highlight reels, the university offers, the awards, the perfect photos after tournaments and performances. What we don't consider, what is important to consider, are the late nights, tears over bad marks, and moments of doubt. If we compare our full, messy, behind-the-scenes life to everybody else's unedited version, we will, of course, come up short every time. But this pressure does not just come from the outside. It also comes from the way we measure our own worth. Many of us tie our identity to being the smart one, the athletic one, the leader, or the one who never messes up. These labels can feel safe, but they're also fragile. If one test, one season, or one activity goes poorly, it can feel like everything about us is collapsing. Imposter syndrome festers in the gap between how others see us and how we know ourselves. People might see us as capable and confident, while inside we feel like we are constantly pretending. And the more we succeed, the worse it can feel, because each success becomes more pressure to keep up this act. For me, things really started to change when I finally said something out loud. One day, after class, a teacher remarked that they appreciated my participation in discussions. My first reaction, silently was the same as always. If only you knew how little I really understand. But instead of saying thank you and walking away, I decided to be honest. I said something, privately, along the lines of thank you, but I feel like I'm just guessing half of the time. I'm always worried that I'm not good enough to be in this class. I expected them to be surprised or to reassure me in a way that felt fake. Instead, they said something that changed my mindset. Most of the people in this room feel the same way. They're just better at hiding it. That sentence stayed with me, not because it magically fixed everything, but because it did something very simple. It made me feel less alone. It changed my private failure into a common human experience. It also showed that my fear of being found out was just proof not that I didn't belong, but that I cared, and that I was stretching myself. Around the same time, I started talking to friends and realized how many of them had their own version of this same story. The person I thought was effortlessly academic felt out of place athletically. The person I saw as a natural leader told me they expected to be replaced by someone better. Hearing that did not make me happy that they were struggling, but it did make me question the story I had been telling about myself. So what do we actually do with all of this information? I don't think the solution lies in just being more confident or repeating affirmations in the mirror in the hopes that it fixes everything. Nobody is born with confidence. It's built slowly through evidence. Instead of asking, was I the best, I started to ask, did I show up? Instead of asking, did I impress everyone, I tried to ask, did I learn anything? That sounds like a small change, but it changed what counted as success. Suddenly, raising my hand and being wrong was not proof that I didn't belong. It was proof that I cared. Joining a new activity and not being perfect on day one was not embarrassing, it was normal. I also began to keep track, quietly, of the times I handled something I thought myself incapable of. The late night I finished an essay I was sure would defeat me. The practice I pushed through even though I was tired. The conversation that made me nervous. None of these moments looked remotely impressive from an outside view, but together they made up my own resume. Not the same list of achievements, but times I showed up for myself. I'm not standing here because I've solved imposter syndrome. I'm standing here because I still feel it, but I'm learning to live differently with it, as I think we all can. So if anything I've said feels familiar to you, here's what I hope you leave with. First, feeling like an imposter does not make you one. Often, the people who care the most, who push the hardest, and are most aware of how much they must still learn are the ones who feel this way. The doubt you feel is a sign that you are growing. Second, you don't need to wait until you feel ready to participate. The truth is, none of us ever fully feel ready. Put your hand up even if your voice shakes. Try out for the team even if you don't think you'll make it. Apply for the role even if you're not sure that you are confident. Let your actions lead and your confidence will inevitably follow. Third, we have a responsibility to each other. In a community like Appleby, where so many people are quietly carrying this doubt, every small act of kindness matters. The way you respond when someone else gives a wrong answer in class, the way you talk about marks, the way you celebrate each other's efforts instead of only the results. All of that is going to shape whether this is a place where people feel they need to pretend or a place where they can be honest. Imagine if instead of competing to look the most put together, we competed to be the most encouraging. Imagine if success here was not about who collects the most awards, but about who helps the most people. When I look back at my grade 9 self, there are two things I wish I could tell him. First, you are not here by accident. Someone saw something in you, even if you cannot see it in yourself. Second, you don't have to earn your right to exist in a room by being perfect. You already belong simply because you're trying. One day, for some of us sooner than others, we will all leave Appleby. We will go to new schools, new cities, new communities, and new jobs where we may feel like imposters all over again. We can't control that feeling showing up, but what we can do is control what we do when it does. We can remember the times we showed up anyways. We can talk to people around us instead of pretending to be fine. We can choose how to measure ourselves, not by how flawless we appear, but by how faithfully we keep going. Living a life of goodness in a place like Appleby is not about doubting yourself. It is about refusing to let that doubt decide the kind of person you are going to become. You don't have to be perfect to belong here. You just have to be willing to show up, keep going, and be yourself. Thank you. It's been an honor to have your time and attention, and with that, please stand to sing hymn 418, Broad a Circle Wide.